Welcome to the Man United Agenda. Yes, we just witnessed a 0-0 draw. We've got a point at Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park, a place that we haven't really been successful at in recent years. But yeah, it's a point. Is it positive? Is it negative? We're about to find out. Let's hear your thoughts, guys. Welcome to the Man United Agenda and welcome Bath Time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Can you hear me? I've just had an audio problem.
No, you can hear. I can hear you loud and clear anyway. I don't know about anyone else, but yeah, we've got a few people in the chat. Bath Time, 0-0 draw with Crystal Palace. Is that a positive or a negative?
It feels like a negative, to be honest, because we had so much of the ball. We looked so good for so long. I spoke briefly to Stefan, and he said, another 10 out of 10 from an ex-goalkeeper. And that's kind of what it felt about. And I was also extremely annoyed with Martinez's antics around the 65th minute, because I felt that we lost control of the game after that. We talked about the importance of keeping that crowd quiet. And by the end of it, it was like, the Crystal Palace ultras and that eagle were just flying about. So it feels like we let something slip, but there are a lot of positives from the game.
Okay. So overall, I'm asking you guys in the comments, going to come at you. Is it a positive, big capital P for positive, or a negative? The result, the performance, everything. Put it in the comments now. We'll be coming to you. Dora is going to be joining us very soon. This is the post-match review. Mark, how you doing? Say good game, but we needed goals. One thing is we didn't get beat, which is a result. Also, good evening to Mr. B and crew in the chat tonight. So big up to you, Mark. Bart Series fans in the house as well. It was never a good idea to spend all your goals against Barnsley. At least you get United started at home. Point. Yeah, we got a point. Big up to Titanium. Anala wasn't bad, most certainly. Big up to everyone he's saying here. Andrew, how you doing? He's changed his name again back to Loser. All right, boys, one of them games. Yeah, a bit frustrating. Tyrone, how you doing? Solid point. But we need to learn how to take chances. So annoying. Yeah. We've got Matthew Bassett in the house. He's also saying we should have won. Most definitely. Big up, fellas, says Mr. POTUS 5000. I'm actually annoyed with the match tonight, so that's a negative for him. Big up to Stephanie Griffiths. How you doing? Titanium says, OMONDI says, Maz now say Raz.
Mazarawi is what he's trying to get you to say.
Trying to play the school teacher. We've also got Tyrone saying here, Martinez thinks all the antics are going to endear to us to him. No, it doesn't. It just pisses people off. Can't wait until Euro gets back. And Matthew saying it's a negative. P is a capital P is a positive. The result is negative though. The performance he's saying here, so that's a good one. 76 goals, 76 points, 0 goals, 1 point. So behind our target. Love a wasteful masterclass from Captain Chaos, talking about Bruno, of course. Couple more here. Absolute negative, says the President of the United States. Doesn't matter how good or bad performance was, we should have won, plain and simple. Bart is here. It's just saying, how do you rate the starting 11? All right, so we should have won. We most certainly did. Yeah. But the positive is the performance, I believe. We created a lot of chances. I think at the end of it, I'm not a stat man, as you know, but I'm just looking at the stats. We had 15 shots to their 9 away from home. And 6 of them were on target. So we did sort of dominate. I felt we dominated the game by half time, don't you think?
Yeah, I was very impressed with a lot of our play, particularly our counter press. We had a lot of fights with Crystal Palace over loose balls, and we lost them. We won them, sorry. And that's normally the result of good structure. Sorry, I was distracted by, I think Dora might be here. But yeah, I thought all in all, we were really good for 65 minutes. And the issue is that we don't really have a killer in the team. And I used to think that was Bruno, but Bruno is missing a lot of chances.
Yeah, he is, most certainly. I mean, but the chance, we look like the better team. And if we're being honest, as a neutral as well, even neutrals were saying to me as well, you got to win this, you got to win this. At half time, with the amount of chance we had, I thought, we're playing well. It's only a matter of time, and it didn't come in the end.
I felt that as well. But then I got scared when Eddie Nketiah started playing at the end of the half, and Eze got that chance, and I began to get a bit nervous. And I thought in the second half we went out and we did exactly the same. Really pleased with Eriksen's performance. I think he was fantastic today. But it's just, I know it's everything I've wanted, which is control of the game, goals, not being cut through on transitions, but you've got to score goals. You've got to score goals.
Certainly. Good evening to Dora, all the way from Croatia. You got a cold, Dora?
Oh, don't get me started. But you know what? I will not burden you with my problems. No, I'm good today. Thank you, Mondi, for asking. Sorry for being a bit late. I was, for 45 minutes, my dog was begging me to take him for a walk, but I was watching the game. Waste of the 45 minutes, in my opinion. Like I said, in the second half, poor dog, he had to suffer because of me. But I walked him and came back. If you're asking for the performance today, I suppose I think that United first half was excellent. I was very pleased with the way we played. There were combinations of long balls and short passes, spacey football. We were very good with pressing, I would say, because Crystal Palace just couldn't get out of their half. We were forcing them, to make mistakes, which was amazing. Christian Eriksen, for me, the best player overall, even today. But in first half, he was just so on point with his passes. I was very, very pleased with how he played. But yeah, not clinical enough. And in the end, it cost us. Second half was different half. I think subs changed the game. We'll talk about it further. But subs, I think, killed the game, in my opinion.
Okay, so we're saying here that it's a disappointing result. It's a negative in a way. But let's talk about the performance. In the first half, we did create a lot of chances. And I think Dean Henderson made some wonderful saves, but there's a pass by Dalot that went straight through the channel towards, I think
Garnacho?
Yeah, was it Garnacho? Yeah, Garnacho had a lot of chances today, It's just so unfortunate, isn't it? I mean, any other day, these would go in, but we're creating, we're controlling. And Eriksen, I didn't really think about that until both of you said that, but he was dictating the play in the first half. We always think you need an enforcer in midfield, but we played Eriksen and Mainu in there, and it gives us a bit more control, I imagine. But yeah, the chances that we created, plentiful, which is good, very good to see in the final third. Bath time, what are your thoughts about the chances? Is this something that we are working on in the training ground? Is this starting to come to fruition? Are you giving it a big capital P for the chances that we're creating? I know, like you said, just need to finish our dinner.
Yeah, I'm not feeling positive, Amondo, because I felt we've let it go. But if you're looking for positives, we saw a consistent pattern of getting Garnacho in on his right foot. First time Henderson did. I think that shot beats a lot of goalkeepers. And the second time, Garnacho just leaning back, like his touch was off a little bit, I felt, in the first half. But it's definitely a style of play, and it comes from a 4-4-2 diamond where Xerxes drops, he makes that table, he takes a centre back with him, and then you've got a lot of space in behind to get in. And it worked really well on Garnacho's side. We saw very little of it on Ahmad's side. So I think that they're setting the left wing up to be the guy that scores the goals. You do have to sort of wonder, would Rashford have popped those away with all the goals that he's been scoring? And the other positive that I liked is that of the 4 good chances we made in the first half, 2 also came from set pieces. We had De Ligt, who I think should have scored.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I
think
headed
it down. He done the right thing there.
Yeah, he did, and it was. I just think he should have put it the other side. Myself, when you let the ball come across you as you head it, you're losing a lot of the ability to direct the ball. But once again, I think that header would beat a lot of keepers. I think that Xerxes was a bit worse. To be honest, I think that he should really be scoring that, because De Ligt kind of got 90% of it right, but Xerxes sort of got it wrong. But that's a lot of chances that we're making from free kicks. And then, of course, I think that Bruno should get a bit of grief as well, because he does what you would say is the right thing and strikes it into the ground, and it bounces up and hits the bar. But I'm really sorry. You're a Premier League player on 300 grand. You score that. Like, Onana had to save their version of that. Like, but Bruno, it's essentially an open goal, in my opinion. Like, that should be easier than a pen. So, yes, in terms of positive, we saw 4 chances created that came from a plan. But in terms of negative, these players have got to score goals.
Let's go some comments quickly before we move into you, Dora. So Bart saying here, De Ligt has that Ramos tendency at corners, a bit like how Vidic attacked corners. This is something that he didn't have for a long time. Kudos, Ashworth, and the Glazers. That's from Bart. First half, we were excellent, says Stephanie. Tyrone saying here, it's nice to see Man United winning duels and controlling the game for once. So look, so glad we're starting to look better. However, not convinced by Holland or Xerxes yet. That's Tyrone. Will Williams, how you doing? He says it's improving. It's a case of ex-player jinx. How many times have ex-keepers had a great performance against us? Plenty of positives. That's a good one. It's true as well. Will Williams again is saying Casemiro at 65 minutes, but Mainu may have been consideration. Mainu seems to fade after 65, 70 minutes. You're nodding, Dora. We'll come on to you very soon. Maz looks class, exceeding my expectations. Coming in, says Tyrone. And President United States says, I want to see Rashford down the left with Haaland down the middle. I think Eric Ten Hag got that completely wrong, in my opinion. Also, Palace had key players out, so I don't think it was that impressive, the whole performance. Tyrone again saying the problem with not scoring goals comes down to lack of imagination and creativity. Spot on about Eriksen, though. Not sure who we target when he eventually leaves, but it's a key position or key player.
It's not going to be Wharton, is it, Amondo?
Not by his forms today. Will Williams saying again, defensive partnerships are great. Improvement on last season as well. They're flying in right now. Towards the end of the game, I'm looking at Fernandes and wondering what he's doing on the pitch. That's Tyrone, obviously a bit wasteful with his chances. And Andrew saying Mazia, defense looks a very nice sign indeed. Yeah, he does certainly indeed. What do you think of Ahmad today? That's from President United States. So go ahead, BATHTIME, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I was very disappointed with Mazraoui today. Because I felt that when you looked at what Delot was giving us, like I know Delot played a bit more central and stuff. I thought Delot was really, really good. And I thought that Mazraoui wasn't really involved in the game and he wasn't getting up to give Ahmad combinations. I'm not saying he played badly, but I thought that was the worst game that I'd seen from him. But I might have got this wrong.
Okay, well, we discussed that. And Dora, we talked about Mainu fading after 65, 70 minutes. You were nodding. Mainu, great player. Obviously, he contributes so much, his technique and all that kind of thing. But do you really think there's an issue about him fading during games? Do you see that?
Honestly, I don't know. In the first half, I think the best midfielder from that 3 or Diamond 4, I would say, was Eriksen by far. Mainu didn't have that many touches, which was very interesting. We were always talking about, of him, getting more touches on the ball, holding the ball more, because he is the one that holds the ball the best from all of our, midfielders. However, Eriksen had a specific job of creating, hence why he had most of the ball. I felt like in the first half he lost some key duels. I felt, when he would. And when he would, try to track back, he would be a bit slow. I don't know if he's gassed. He was a bit gassed already in the first half. However, in the second half, I think with the change of Eriksen, with him getting the ball more, he got kind of better. But it feels like I agree with Will Williams, if I'm not mistaken. It's just that it feels like he gets gassed around 70th minute, and it's not necessarily his fault. Maybe the system, he needs to run a lot because we are playing very high, and he's not, in my opinion, he is not a player that is a runner. He's more of a technical player, hence why he gets gassed, and hopefully that will get a bit better. He played a lot of games in the last year or so. I mean, it's even the best, athletes are going to feel that after that long, that consistency and everything. So, I don't think that he had necessarily a really bad game. It's just that, at times he seemed a bit off. But yeah, that's kind of my,
Yeah.
take
Just
on
touching
Mainu.
on Kobe Manu. I mean, we do love him as a player. There's so many
Yeah, of
positives about
course.
him. Yeah. It's just starting out the season. So there's something to look at. Andrew's saying here that he called it. I said it all summer. They was an hour player and got laughed at. So I don't think if anyone disagreed. But yeah, if that's what you're seeing, he needs a fitness program saying here, I love Manu, but he's a boy physically, obviously. A lot of people talk about Wharton today and the potential he has. He had 6 months in the Premier League. I didn't see him play. I didn't see what he did today to suggest it was a good player. But obviously, they were on the back foot. We had 64% possession today, guys. That's an improvement from last year. We're creating more chances this season. That's an improvement from what we've seen. And also, we're restricting opposition to less chances as well. Am I right with those 3 observations?
First 2, yes. Third one, no.
Okay.
Like Palace had some really good chances.
Yes,
like,
they did.
Yeah. Eze had a chance in the first half where Eriksen was caught behind play again, and he took it a bit too quickly. Poor strike. But in the second half, you had a double save from Onana. You had that one from Eze, which I also think Onana might have saved. He put it like outside the post, but like Onana was down there, and those are all like I think that like that they're really, really good chances. It wasn't like that one where Will Hughes just smacked it at Onana hoping something might happen. They created good chances. And the thing is that Premier League teams are always going to make 1 or 2 very, very good chances, which is why you need to always have a 2-goal lead to get out of these games. But Omondi, but all in all, how happy are you with that match?
I'm really happy. The reason I'm really because we have to remember where we're at. We want to win these games, surely. We're going away to Crystal Palace, and if we would have scraped a draw, I'm like, phew. It's not one of them few games. It's like, damn, we should have won that. That's how you feel. And we're disappointed because we felt we had the chances, 15 chances, 15 shots on goal, 6 on target, and some really good saves. Like you said, the header, I forgot about that one, down at the feet. Done everything right. We had Garnacho with that shot with his left foot across the goal, done the right thing. Nice move, open them up like hot knife with butter. We had Garnacho as well hitting the bar when maybe he should have kept his head over the ball kind of thing, and then Bruno with the follow-up. So these are 3 clear chances that we've created throughout the game, and I just felt we should have been 1 up. And if we would, like we did against Barnsley, I think we showed a bit more confidence because of that, because of the win, scraping the win against Southampton, the goals that we scored against Barnsley. We showed a bit more confidence today, and we're dominating the game because of that, and the chances that we created are very good. That's what I want to see. And I do think we are more secure. I know as the game went on, because if we would be 1-2 and all up like we should have been.
Yeah, we lost our shape, didn't we?
Would have changed everything. But because Crystal Palace came back into the game, they got a bit more confidence, and they had nothing to lose at some point because they realised, look, we're not a better team here. I think they did create a few chances at the end. Not create, but they forced a few chances, and it would have been like a Brighton affair, which would be unjust if we would have lost the game for a goal like that. So granted, it's clean sheet. We should have scored. Obviously, we're a bit more secure. That's one positive. We got a clean sheet, but the difficult one now is scoring goals. We need to finish teams off. They were very physical, as we know, for Crystal Palace. So I've heard some comments about Ahmad. He didn't do anything today. I thought Ahmad done as good as he could. He's up against a big. Have you seen Tyreek Mitchell? Anyone?
He's a good player.
Bodybuilder. He's like a bodybuilder. He's strong as an ox, like all the Crystal Palace players. And I think he really held him up well.
Friend of the channel.
Sorry?
He's a friend of the channel, Tyreek Mitchell.
Yes, he is. Mr. B. Shout out to Mr. B.
What?
But like I say,
ask a question, Omondi.
Yeah.
Right, and to Dora as well. I agree with pretty much everything you've said, except for one thing, which is I felt we were doing a bit too much trying to walk it in the net tonight with Bruno Zerzi and Kobe in particular, and there was a lack of quality with the final ball. Do you think that with the performance, I mean, Garnacho, I don't think was particularly good in the second half. I don't think that Ahmed was particularly good in the second half. Do you think we're struggling with a false 9 system?
Dora, do you want to take that one? And I would love to answer after you.
No, I don't think so. Honestly, I agree with the Garnacho take. I feel Diallo didn't have a good game, full stop. Every time he would get a ball, he would once again, his head would, drop, and he wouldn't seek immediate, try to create or something. He did it. He had some, half-assed passes in the box, but to me, he had a poor game. This is to me his worst game this season, as well as Mazruev. But I don't think a false nine is an issue.
Yeah.
If Garnacho scores that goal, it works. If what's his face, Bruno scores a goal, we are 2-0 up all of a sudden. So I think it works. We are just not clinical. I want to now. We can extend this to the. I know this is probably for the later time step of the show, but look at how we play when Højlund is in the game. When he's a proper number 9. We looked far worse. So I feel like with this system this season that we are trying to play, and Ten Hag obviously wants to play like that, I think we play much better, because Zirkse, as much as he isn't very good, obviously he's not very clinical in the last few games, he's creating channels for other people, right? He has very good movement. Even today, if these guys score, we are up. We are up 2 goals. The whole gameplay works. I feel when we got Zirkse out, which to me was a good sub, because he, after in the second half especially, we just didn't look that good. I think he got gassed as well because he ran a lot. I feel when we went back to that, number 9 striker is just Højlund. I'm sorry, guys.
Did you see that touch?
Poor. Awful. Like, people are laughing about Lukaku. This guy is 2 Lukakus. Like, he has legs. His legs are brick walls. And hopefully that changes. He's still probably rusty from the injury, but we look much better when we have Zirkse in the team. If we score those 2-3 chances that we had, or 4 chances, as you said, BATHTIME, in the first half, false 9 all of a sudden works. But we are not clinical. And someone needs to tell these players to stay after the training on the training ground for 2 hours to actually exercise and train their finishes, because they cannot. Like, I know Henderson was amazing today, but just, for example, the licked chance, you had chances. Bruno as well. Like, what the? I'm just baffled with how we missed our chances today, and I feel false 9 works if we score those goals, and we play much better with it.
I think I hear what you're saying there. Zirkse is a very good player for me. Today showed some things where I was like, woo, really excited me. First touch, hold up, played, link up. He's so unselfish. It's unbelievable. We can afford. You said about walking the ball into the net, but the way he plays, he will drag defenders out. They played a back three today, big defenders. Mm-hmm. He will drag one of them out, and which creates space for others. This is why we have so many good opportunities. Why Dalot can thread a ball in for Garnacho in between the centre backs. You understand what I'm saying? Because Zirkse's dragging these guys away. Yeah. And what is, as a defender, when you see right, I've got Zirkse. What's he about? And you see the ball get played into him. You go to him, and he pops off a nice ball around the corner or plays it, and sets a man up. Sets him, and then you're thinking, oh my God, do I try to get in front of him? You can't, because he's wide. Wide is my screen, He's a big player as well. So
did you see that touch on his chest? I thought of you in the first 2 minutes. There was a lovely touch on his chest, and I thought of you jumping around, screaming.
Ole all day with Zirkse, with that sort of thing. It's so underrated. I mean, we talk about this, but the false 9, he's got all the attributes to be a great player for us playing that role. We just have to be patient with him. The thing is, now we want too much. Do you understand? We want our custard and pudding, everything with the meal. It comes with it's a 5-course meal. You get certain things, the attributes come. The next thing will be finishing, but you got to understand, he's not going to be able to do that just yet because of the style of play that he has. He's got his back to goal a lot of the time. He's linking up the play. He's standing still where defenders like, do I go with him or not? And he's creating space for others. So we will experience this season, not our main striker scoring the most goals, but probably one of the wide men banging in goals, whether it's Rashford or Garnacho. Garnacho had a lot of chances today and a lot of space. But when you notice when Zirkse came off and Garnacho was playing on the right-hand side in the second half, didn't get sniffed. Didn't get sniffed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why is that? Because we're suddenly playing a striker who's not been able to produce what Xerxes does by terrorizing their centre backs and causing them problems by peeling off and linking up the play. Links it up so well. So he's a fantastic player. We just got to be patient with him regarding the goal side of things, because that's not the main attribute for him right now. That will come.
Right. Yeah, but I know you got to go soon. Can we get on to Lisandro Martinez before you go? So that we have a defender here to defend whatever the hell he did in the second half.
Oh,
first off, is it a red?
You don't do that. Yeah, look, we can all talk about this. I mean, look, I didn't see it at first. I didn't wonder what all the fuss was about when I saw it in slow motion. Why? The thing is, why? Do you understand? What was the point in doing that? You're just going to punch the football. Do you understand? It's like one of these big bullies in the playground saying,
Yeah.
"What? Give us that ball, and I'm going to stamp it and punch it and say, ha ha." You know, what's the point? What's the point in that? What's the mentality behind that? You could have won the ball fair and square. You would have got there first anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like, come on, man. You said something about that giving momentum to the Palace fans or whatever. Yeah. Maybe that's a factor. Maybe there is something about it. But overall, I'm not going. That's one thing. I thought he defended okay. We had more time because we weren't pressured. We had the centre backs had so much time in the ball. I will throw something back to you, Bathtime, like a boomerang. You hit something at me. I'm going to catch it, throw it back at you. What's all this talk about Xerxes and his passing being elite? I haven't seen him switch to play once. It's like he's scared to do it.
You said Xerxes.
Sorry, not Xerxes.
Delict?
Yeah, I haven't seen him do that once yet. I'm still waiting. I'm sure he's got in his locker, but I'm seeing him play safe pass. But where's his switch of play, which will help us open up? Martinez can do it. Harry Maguire can do it. I haven't seen Delict do that as yet. That's the thing. But
is that the question?
No, I'm just observation. You can ask that one. But as for Martinez, that was out of order. He needs to be really careful, and because something like that could really ruin a good performance like we had today. So I'm overall, like I say, I'm pleased with the performance. Disappointed about the result. We should have won the game, but we are progressing slowly, and hopefully the fan base will get behind us now and start to understand. All right, good performance. Let's move on from here. Who we got next? We've got Spurs at home next week. That'd be a good opportunity to show what we got, because this team would be more open. Crystal Palace were hard to break down. They set up pretty well, back five almost. They gave away possession. But when you got a team like Tottenham next week coming at us and a bit more risky, I think we can, really exploit them with Xerxes, as you said earlier about the full side. Xerxes peeling off and these guys running in behind this big high line that they play. So I'm quite positive about the whole result. But Martinez, bad idea, bad bit of mentality, split second madness there. But overall, he's a good defender, and it's good to have him back with the balance in the side, especially with when we got time in the ball to be passing it around. His passes are crisp into feet and solid in that respect.
We've had a super chat on Monday.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, big up 199 to Gunner King, Christopher King. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining us, Christopher King. Respect to you. Obviously, he's an Arsenal fan. He's saying good draw versus Palace. You go from 10th to 11th. Obviously, he's an Arsenal fan. So
we were 11th, by the way. Get your facts right. We were already 11th.
He likes to be right all the time. And then obviously, his team are doing really well at the moment. So we wait for the December the 3rd when we play Arsenal. Then we will see what's going on, because we've been improved by then. Yeah, over to you.
Well, when you talk about Delict and the switching, I think it's about our team setup where we're playing. Even though we've got width, we're playing more narrow. So if you play that switch, you expose yourself more for sort of turnovers and transitions. So I'm not completely against that as a principle, but I felt that Martinez in particular towards the last 20 minutes was bloody dreadful at getting the ball forward. I also think it's not a penalty, but I think he gave too much of an option to the ref when he had both hands on Ismail Sarr. I'm not saying it's a penalty, but I didn't like that defending. But I thought, to try and be generous to Martinez, it might be something to do with his injury, where that's a sort of instinctive reaction to protect himself instead of sticking his foot out. But I personally think that is a red all day long. That would start a fight in any Sunday league game, going in like a jack in the box like that. And I felt it got them back into the game. Yes, Dora.
Yeah. I don't think Martinez had a really good game. Bye, OMONDI. You're going.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Guys, keep the comments coming in. I'm going to chip right now. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow when Man City are going to do Gunner King some damage. No doubt. Yeah, for sure. Because he's coming here to chip. But tomorrow they got to face the music and see if they're really touch.
Shout out to Kahinde and your nephew. Hope you have fun.
Yeah. Thanks. My nephew's 18th birthday, so I've got to go. I was supposed to be there an hour ago, but my priorities with you guys. Dora, everyone in the chat, good night, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Bye.
You were saying, Dora?
I don't think Martinez had a particularly good game, honestly, today. I think that in the second half, he almost cost us a game. Because not just that particular yellow card or foul that he did. Remember the Nketiah chance. He was the one who jumped out of the line.
Didn't he?
He fell over and he exposed that middle. And of course, everyone needs to cover for him, and all of a sudden Eddie Nketiah is all alone in the middle, and Onana saved that, or I think he missed it.
No, it was the double save.
Oh, that was the double save. Yes, you're actually right. That was the double save. I feel like, I don't know. He had 2, maybe 3 good passes through the midfield in the first half. Other than that, he wasn't very good in my opinion. Do you think, sorry, Dora, do you think it was noticeable how much worse his distribution was after Eriksen left the pitch? I think so. Let's talk about the subs and the change in the second half, because it was obviously noticeable, because Palace started to Could I do the comments first? Yes, of course. Yeah, because I think I know where you're going with this, and I agree with you. Simon Warner is saying, did anyone deserve man of the match? We'll do man of the match later, but to be perfectly honest, Simon, I'm very tempted to give it to Onana for the second time in a week. Right, Rajat, Leacher was about a 6 maximum. Is 6 average or above average? I think it's more of a bit above average. I think he was a 4 or a 5 then. Yeah. Martinez nonsense tonight was just stupid. The diving and the playing up. He's gone from a hobbit to a goblin, to be honest. Martinez, Bruno were both poor. I agree with Andrew. We'll do individual ratings a little bit later, as we'll just do the sort of generals of the game before specifics. Martinez is lucky Yoro was injured early on in the season, or he'd be nowhere near the starting 11. Are people turning on Martinez? I've never been a huge fan of him, but I've had to endure a lot of stick for that opinion. Well, it's noticeable. His bad performances and mistakes during the game are more noticeable, especially when we don't, when Maguire isn't on the pitch or Casemiro. I think it's very noticeable, and people are finally, seeing it. Especially, this season he's been poor, in my opinion. Rajat is saying, but Yoro is a right-footed centre back. I've got to be honest. I don't actually think that a left foot at left centre back is as important as it's made out to be. The reason you have it there is to do with passing angles, but more importantly, it's about passing the ball to the outside foot, which means that you have a greater chance of beating the press. And I think it's a minor detail where structure is more important than that. But I'd agree, Rajat, that Ten Hag is obsessed with it. Andrew, you give me your match ratings. If I may, I'll ask for them later when we ask everyone else. Yes, Tyrone, my friend, I agree with you. Vidic and Ferdinand were both right-footed. Terry and Carvalho, who were the best Premier League partnership ever. Costa Corta and Nesta. No, who was the little short one? Cannavaro? Fabio Cannavaro. Yeah, he was right-footed as well. Yeah. And Martinez and Bruno are not poor, they're rich.
Brilliant, Bilal. I can't wait to sorry, brilliant, Titanium. I can't wait to see you on tour.
Titanium. Great name.
All right. Now, Dora, before you go off on the subs, do you think that because they came on at exactly 75 minutes, that's got something to do with an instruction that, for example, Ericsson can only play 75 minutes or they can only play 15 minutes?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's
a good question. Very layered question, which I will let you, dissect more because you will do it much.
No,
better.
I'm asking you where you think the emphasis is on that. Is it Ericsson can only play 75 minutes, or is it that Højlund can only play 15 minutes? So what I'm asking is if Højlund could have played 30 minutes, would he have come on at 60 minutes, or is it because we're trying to get the maximum out of Ericsson on the pitch?
I think we're trying to get maximum of Ericsson because even though we played Southampton, which were, they are on the bottom of the league and on the bottom of the league, and Barnsley are the League One. I think he had some good performances for United, and Ten Hag is saying that he's our best creative player right now in the team. Hence why I think it's the first option. When it comes to subs, I think the first sub came in. Can you pull them up? I can. I think Zirkzee went out for Rashford, and
Yes.
then Amad Diallo went off for
Højlund.
Rasmus Højlund, yeah. And then later we got Ugarte in
It was a minute or two.
A minute or two instead of Ericsson, yeah. I think it changed the game. Like, I know that at that point we were kind of, the game was kind of dead. We had some chances.
Drifting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was drifting away from us.
It was a very boring game. Martinez and De Ligt were constantly, passing to each other, in the back line. Then Crystal Palace would head it, and then there would be a foul and, time wasting and all that. And I just feel when these three players came in and we changed, from false nine to the standard, Ugarte was, in my opinion, more of a number 6, your traditional number 6, with Kobe at 8, and Bruno was a number 10, who kind of drifted to the right a lot. And Garnacho, of course, went to the right. Rashford was on the left, and Højlund was through the middle, right, as a number 9, your striker. That game was dead after that. We lost every single, part. We lost control. Any control that we had at that point in time, we lost it. Crystal Palace starting to play. And it was very scary because I felt like, I think, we already mentioned it. We should have been up at least 2 goals. We didn't, use that, chances. We were 0-0, and then all of a sudden, Eddie Nketiah is causing us problems. Sarr was causing us problems. Eze had a chance. Very, very, we were living quite dangerously. And, Will Hughes, the albino guy, they put him in. He was causing us trouble. Like, every single year against Crystal Palace, since this guy is there, Draco Malfoy is literally causing us trouble every single time. Like, every single time. And, you see him, oh my God, there is no chance that the guy is a professional footballer, especially not a Premier League level. But that guy always, tears us apart.
I feel the same about Cole Palmer. I don't think he looks like he should be a professional footballer.
Exactly. And then when he plays against us, when they play against us, they are freaking insane. And I just feel like we lost so much, and then the creativity died as well. Look, let's talk about Bruno a bit, because he was the one who was... I know we are drifting a bit, but, he was supposed to be the one to take the reins of the creativity, right? From Ericsson, right?
I don't think so.
Really? You think Kobe would be the guy? Yeah.
All right, so
maybe.
Just before I give my take, in chat, I want you to talk about or I would like some comments about what you think the subs did. Is Dora right? Did the game get away from us? Because I'm assuming that you think that Højlund wasn't able to participate in the build-up play to the same level that Xerxes could, bouncing off him and things. I think that what happened with the subs is that I think that Kobe was playing a lot deeper in the first half and was more of a 6 because he was fairly central, and we were basically playing a kind of a diamond with Xerxes at the top, Eriksen and Bruno either side, and Kobe at the base of the diamond. I think that what happened in the second half is that Ugarte went to the base of the diamond and he did okay. He lost, he didn't get a yellow card, which was good. Lost a couple of fouls, but he did all right there. I think the problem is that Kobe was completely dead on his feet and he wasn't able to get out and make the angles more. And then Bruno, because of Ugarte and his lack of sort of like distribution, Bruno dropped in to make a back three. Mazraoui pushed up, Delot pushed up, and because of how ponderous I felt we were on the ball, we weren't able to get it out to Rashford and Garnacho, and we tried to go central with a player that was dead on his legs in Kobe, who wasn't able to create the angles needed. Rasmus, who is not a back to goal player, and obviously. I worry that what we have now is a very, very good first team that understand the patterns of play, can contribute, are all good at their role, and that there's no one who can really change it from the bench. I personally think that Ahmad is probably one of the players that can replace Xerxes in the team the best in terms of back to goal play, because Rasmus is the worst. Rashford's better at it than he is. Yeah. So do you have any disagreements with that?
No, it just felt like the way we played. I felt like, yes, Højlund was dropping in a bit. I felt like we changed it. I never felt in. So this is my observation. I don't know. I mean, we obviously think otherwise, but or the opposite. I just felt like we went back to the standard 4-3-3 because Højlund, to me, was constantly trying to run in between the center backs, right? And he would try to drift on his left foot, which is, left side of the attack. Hence why I felt like we try to change it. And Ugarte, when he came in, he would constantly drop back he would do like a Casemiro role in terms of, he would drop back to the center backs and, try to carry the ball to the front or, pass it or whatever. Hence why I thought that we kind of fell back to that 4-3-3. So I never know, because Højlund was constantly, running, and whenever he would get the ball, he would lost it. So I that was, my observation. I felt like we went back to 4-3-3. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously not the case. Yeah.
So I Am Titanium says, didn't think it was boring, just frustrating. I was really disappointed, Titanium, that with 10 minutes to go, I thought we're going to make a chance. And I don't think we did. And I could have thrown Bruno out the window with the free kick at the end.
Oh, my God. He was awful.
I'm frustrated with that game, but whatever, we move on. Yeah. Okay, so it got worse when them 3 subs came onto the pitch. Subs made us worse. Yeah. Ahmad is never a centre forward. He's played at number 10, like more than you'd think, Rajat. The final 10 to 15 minutes, Maz was visibly upset at the lack of progression up the pitch. Do you think, DK, that is from Martinez and De Ligt, like being a little bit ponderous at the back? Or where are you putting the lack of progression on? Too many side balls from Ugarte, I thought. Yeah, I think, Agile, that the problem with that in terms of passing the ball sideways, I'm very happy with sideways passes as long as there's an intention. And the intention was to widen the pitch and give us more angles to play through the block. But Martinez he looked like he was lagging today when he got the ball. There was no urgency to see a gap and go for it and so on. And I really felt that the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes when the subs came on, it looked like us last year, out of ideas, out of energy, out of aggression, no real route to goal. And it's really bad because you compare that to the first half where it looked like we were constantly, that we had constant options, that there was always a kind of plan to goal. And I am concerned about what happens if Xerxes loses form or gets injured, or his fitness isn't great and he has to come out of the team, because I can't see how we'd replace him. But
well, we will probably play Bruno there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is what I want to get onto is Bruno. You don't sound happy with Bruno. Where are you standing with him at the moment?
When he was on form 2 seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago, because he played 18 months of his same football for us, and then he started to decline, probably because of the change of the managers and change of personnel. Who knows, right? I never felt that in the last 2-3 seasons he had a season or 2 seasons of football that he had. I never felt that he was on that point of insane form that he had in the first 18 months since then. I just feel like I never was, everyone was, he's wasteful with the ball. I didn't care until, he would always get that pass, that assist, that goal, and then if he loses 20 balls per game, I would be like, you know what, it's fine. He's creating, he's, winning us games. He's making us, exciting. But in the last season or so, or even more for me, it just feels like he's just losing the ball. And, yes, he runs. Yes, he intercepts sometimes. And, when he loses the ball, he immediately wants to, get back to it and all that. It felt like this game, he was probably the worst midfielder.
Did you make a chance today?
In the first half?
Who's that for? Because it was the corners were Eriksson.
No. I remember in the second half, and the chat will confirm it. He had a chance to shoot. He leaves the ball to Garna. Sorry, he trivellaed it. Yeah, he missed.
Use your left foot, mate.
Use your left foot, exactly.
But if it goes in, different story.
Of course. Look, everyone, if you don't shoot your shot, you're never going to win anything, right? But it feels like, I don't know if it's the change of the role of him in the team, within the Ten Hag system or whatever, or any system that managers established during their time here. I just feel like I don't know.
This is what I wanted to ask you, actually, is that under Ole, I think we can all agree that we saw Bruno's best football. And
exactly.
Regardless of what you thought about them, you had a very athletic and hard-working double pivot behind him. So the team was more in a position to lose the ball. Like, when you look at Manchester City with Kevin De Bruyne, when he's in the final third, they're set up to lose the ball. Because we have 2 at the back, essentially, instead of 3 at the back, I think that the team is very, very worried about losing the ball, especially when you saw what happened last season with our inability to recover that space. I think that I wonder if the midfield of Kobe, Eriksson, and Ugarte is much better suited to us now, because we need to keep the ball and be a bit more cute. And Bruno's special move is standing on the ball, looking up, and curling it with the inside of his foot to a channel or to the back post or something. And I can't remember the last time where he's really kind of done something like that, because now he's playing the McTominay role, where his job is to apply the final touch. He missed 2 very good chances against Fulham. He's missed 2 very good chances again tonight. I'm a little bit worried that Bruno isn't being maximised. And if he isn't being maximised, I don't think he's got enough outside of his game except which the most important thing, goals and assists. But he's beginning to look like a little bit of a passenger to me in this system. And that's my worry. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think you said it perfectly, better than me, by the way. But it's just, that inside of the foot curler, he did that in the first half. He passed it to Zirkse, and the Crystal Palace defender put it out in the corner. And it feels like he does it too. He does that rarely, in my opinion. And on the other side, someone said it in the chat. He lost 34. He lost the ball 34 times.
Really?
That's a lot. Yes, that's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot, especially if he's not assisting, if he's not scoring goals. And now we are in the same discussion that we had, for Marcus Rashford. If he doesn't score, and if he doesn't, create or assists, what does he do outside of it? Because we faulted Rashford for that, right? If he doesn't score, he doesn't defend. What's his purpose? He's just of course, we all love Bruno, right? We all think he's a great player.
Yeah.
But what do I have of his running around the pitch like a headless chicken? If he is losing the ball constantly, he looks the worst midfielder. He looks like a worst midfielder.
Doesn't look like a captain either. He doesn't feel like a captain either at the moment. The Ligt feels like the leader. But not him.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I feel really bad, and it saddens me because I always liked his style of play, right? Those assists, the final balls, the great balls, the catalyst, right? Great word for Bruno Fernandes, but it feels like in the last 2 seasons he's lost it. He's losing it, and then he gets one probably, and the amount of games that he played. Yeah, and the amount of games that he played since he came to Manchester United, he's never injured. Maybe that's the case as well. But maybe it's Ten Hag's system as well, as you mentioned.
I agree. All right, I want to do the comments, and then we're going to go on to the individual player ratings and lack a notch it. Are you pleased, Dora, that you've got an English football channel full of people that live in London, like speaking Croatian, like at the end of every show?
You know what? The Croatian Tourist Board should hire me because I'm spreading Croatian culture everywhere. So yeah, I'm very pleased.
Okay, right. Simon is saying somehow I feel that the Barnsley match was just a one-off with the passion. We've come down to earth with a bump. I think we played very, very well in the first 45 minutes, Simon. I just still don't trust this team is the issue with it. Like, when you look at like old Manchester United, and we have to see that as a different era, they were able to find solutions and find a goal. And one of my complaints with systems football is I feel it takes a lot of agency away from the players. Like, and I would like to have seen the players just sod off that system and go and win it in the last 10 minutes. Like, I think De Ligt should have gone up front and things like that. Because, I mean, why not shove Harry Maguire on instead of Højlund and go long?
And also, I just wanted to ask you this. Since we all, mentioned Kobe, kind of, getting gassed in the second half, especially, by the end of the
Mount?
Was Mount on the bench?
Mount was on the bench.
Casemiro, was he on the bench?
Yeah, he was on the bench.
Why not put him in? Like, we have 5 subs. Why not? Like, of course, the kid is not going to go, please sub me out. I'm tired. But
I think that's it exactly, Dora. I think that he was told, because he wasn't playing against Barnsley, that he was getting 90 minutes away at Crystal Palace.
That's dumb.
That's what I think it was.
Who cares? Like, I'm a coach. If I see that you're not performing, I don't owe you anything. If I said it 2 days ago, oh, you're going to play 90 minutes. If you're not playing very well, and if you are causing your team to play, worse, I'm going to get you out of the pitch. why do managers and the coaches need to owe the players everything? That's my question.
Squad management.
Yeah.
Like Fergie used to do this like all the time, but that's where I think Kobe didn't get subbed. Okay, like many players, Bruno has looked worse since his new contract. Yeah, can't really argue with that. Okay. Thank you, DK. Maz was motioning midfielders to move forward. Passes were more sideways and up the pitch. At one point, Maz raised his arms in ire after midfielders seemed to be content with the draw. Yeah, a lot of this, DK, sometimes I find is what I call kid-on football, where it's performative. Like Martinez is a classic example of this, of just doing performative actions that don't really help the team. But when we talk about like systems being a kind of prison, I think that Mazraoui was desperate to get forward, but he wasn't really allowed to. And that's where a lot of his frustration came from. I think they were playing too in structure. Ollie got the best out of him. Ollie got the best out of most of our players, to be honest, Stadium. Any thoughts on converting Xerxes to a Kevin De Bruyne role? No, thank you. I think what you have to look at is Xerxes very good with his back to goal and bringing players in, whereas Kevin De Bruyne is fantastic at applying the finishing touch, either as an assist or as a goal. Xerxes, we haven't seen enough from him yet, but I wouldn't have thought so. Hate seeing Bruno playing at right midfield. When we finished third, Bruno played at right wing quite a lot, and it's something I expect to see coming back into the team quite soon. As Ahmad, I believe, is the easiest to drop. Okay. Bruno Fernandes, this is a headline here, is not Messi. Does Ten Hag complicate things with his tactical setup? It's a very in-depth question, Tyrone.
I mean, I just think that he's too stubborn and he doesn't want to change it. And
I also think a lot of it is about the instructions about the tactical setup. You want everything to be as simple as possible. And I believe that we've looked so much better with a false nine because it's a lot easier. The false nine drops, you see space, you go into that space. Yeah. But his rotations are a little bit silly to me. And anyone think we can get 70 goals? Yabba's gone, Andrew, so no.
No.
We have gone 3 consecutive games without conceding. Anana's picked up some fantastic saves. We play Spurs next Saturday. What can we get out of the match? More of the same or better? We'll discuss that a little bit later in the week, Simon, when we hear more about injuries and so on. But I agree with you about Anana, which is where I'm going to start with, because let's do the defense, Dora, rating like 1 to 10. For me, I'm going to give Anana 8. I felt that he was fantastic today in something that he's normally criticised for, which is shot stopping. I felt that he didn't make a mistake, and he's once again he's kind of got us 4 points in my opinion in the last 2 Premier League games. Am I over-egging the pudding or
no? Even in the last few games, like he looked in the last 2-3 games, I would say he looked like a proper goalkeeper for the first time since he came in. And that's why I need to give him 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm very generous. And I'm not a huge fan of his, but I need to give him credit because he finally looks like a freaking goalkeeper.
I'm not sure I can trust him, but I understand what you mean. All right, talk to me about the defence in De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, and Mazraoui.
Well, we didn't concede, which is good. But we could have, if Onana wasn't on point today and, we had usual Onana of old, we would probably concede. I will say 6.5 out of 10. That's above average a bit. I feel like Dalot sometimes, I know that's not his natural position, but sometimes he gets cooked by these wingers on that left back as well. Mazraoui didn't have a good game in my opinion today. I really like him, but that was his, in my opinion. I agree with you. One of the weakest games that he has had, maybe the weakest. The Ligt, I like the Ligt. I think the Ligt was probably the best performer today in the defense, and Martinez is just giving me, I don't know what to say. Like, he is very frustrating at times. Sometimes great reactions, all that, and then he does something stupid, or he has a brain rot that he had when he jumped out of his position and almost, caused Nketiah to score. Hopefully, we see less of that when he, starts to, as the season goes by. But yeah, I would say 6.5 out of 10. I cannot give it more.
I mean, with 5 as the average, I would like to give 3 of them a higher score, because I think that what they were also really good at was defending high up the pitch, De Ligt and Mazraoui. Martinez, obviously not. He got done a lot, but I felt our counter press was really, really helped by the back 4 being high up the pitch. I think, like, I'd probably give Delo the highest score, but he also was sort of like coming into midfield and things. But I thought that Mazraoui was a 5 or a 6. Like, he didn't have a bad game at all. There just seemed to be a lack of quality sometimes and lack of threat from him. Martinez, I'm very tempted to give a 3, but I'm going to give him a 4. I would like to see him dropped for the next game after doing that.
Yeah.
I think he should be. I think he let Palace back in the game. I think most of the chances came from him, and I think that on the ball he was poor. So I didn't think he offered much.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the midfield. So we're talking Eriksen, Kobe, and Bruno, and then you can give Ugarte a rating if you like.
I think the best performer in that first midfield that you mentioned, I think Eriksen was the best performer by far. Even in the defensive transition, I think that chance with Eze, he was at fault because he didn't follow Eze for the full length of it, right? So that's I think that's a fair criticism. But other than that, I think he had a really, really good game. Probably one of his best in a very long time. And obviously Ten Hag sees that, he is our best creative player. And we didn't have for a very long time a creative number 8, like he seems to me like a very kind of, he's a veteran player, of course, but like a very old school, creative number 8, which I really, really love. And yeah, for that, Kobe was okay. And who else was playing? Bruno. I think they created a lot, those 3. I would say 7 out of 10. Maybe a bit generous. If you compare it to the defense. But yeah, they created a lot for these attackers, and the attackers didn't score, honestly.
They didn't get cut through. They were extremely good with their counter press.
Yeah.
Manu won a lot of duels, held his position well. I think that even though I say Bruno didn't really do much in the game, he was involved in that counter press, and it was really good. And he held his position a lot. We just want a lot more. So I'd probably give Kobe and Bruno 6s. And Eriksen 7, just to sort of put Eriksen as above them. I think it's interesting when you talked about him being a number 8. What I liked about his performance tonight, and I'm not comparing them, but it was a Modric-style performance of a lot of shuttling, playing the ball from sort of side to side, but also the ability to break the lines and being good defensively. So I agree with you.
And his one-touch passes. I mean, Casemiro, take notes. I don't think he displaced one today. Like, those long balls when he's trying to,
and his corners.
By like, just put him in the game so he can, put corners.
Take set pieces. Yeah, like literally, Ahmad is dreadful at corners. We get Eriksen on, and we get 2 great chances. But Agile Beast is saying 7 for Eriksen, which I think that in chat you all agree that Eriksen was probably the best midfielder over the course of the game, and I would like to think probably our best outfielder. but he's given a 4 or 5 to Bruno. I think
I would give it like that as well. Yeah,
I
know
would,
you. I know
wonder
you
if
rate
being
counter press and
unfair.
all that, but
Yeah.
I just, those misses and those lost balls, like,
yeah. I mean, he missed two very, very good chances. Okay.
Yeah.
Anana 7, Mazraoui 7, Delo 7, Delic 7, Martinez 5. Do you think, Andrew, that maybe Delo, because of that pass to Garnacho, do you not think maybe that bumps him a little bit higher? Or I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Great pass.
Brilliant pass. Eriksen 7, Mainu 6, Bruno 4. I'm not completely in agreement with the ratings, but what I do agree with is that Eriksen was best, then Mainu was best, then Bruno. And we'll go on to the forwards now because Andrew has given us a 8 for Garnacho, which I find surprising, a 6 for Ahmed, a 6 for Xerxes. Let us know why the 8 from Garnacho, Andrew. So I'll start with my ratings, if I may.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'll give Xerxes a 7. Garnacho's a difficult one because I think I have to give him 6 for missing the 2 chances. And Ahmad, I think he was worse than Garnacho, but he's I think I have to give Ahmad a 5 based on the other ratings. But so what I'm saying is I think that Xerxes was the best of our forwards, then Garnacho, off the fact he missed the chances created for him, and then Ahmad. Andrew is saying, I thought he was dangerous every time Garner touched the ball. Yeah, don't disagree with that, Andrew. I just thought his touch was off for like the first 20 minutes or so, and that he should have scored. Garnacho has so much to work on.
Yeah.
All right, Dora, talk to me about the front 3.
I think the overall score would be 6 out of 10. I think that Xerxes had a good game. It's just that, he obviously knows his role. He's very good with the back to his goal. We obviously know that he's not going to be a goal poacher, but, when I wish that we put him in more situations where he would be in front of the goal with the ball, in goal scoring opportunities. Garnacho had a lot of chances. He didn't score, but he was very excited. Obviously, I would say that Xerxes was probably the best. Garnacho second. Diallo to me he didn't have a good game in my opinion.
Right, why not? What are your issues with Diallo's performance today? Was the work rate good?
Work rate is always okay with him. I don't have issues with his work rate, right?
What about his defending?
Defending was but I mean there was one I think in the first half where he actually tracked back from the right wing to the left back position. He tracked back what's his face, one of the Crystal Palace's player. He was I'm not saying he's not hardworking. It's just when he is with the ball and he, of course, sorry,
it was Mitchell.
Yes. I think so, yeah. But that guy is playing. He played everywhere in Brixton. Like one time he's on the right, one time he's on the left. It feels like he's not. He has the same issues as Rashford has.
Not snappy.
He's not snappy. He doesn't do. He obviously wants to get rid of his defender and try to cross the ball into the middle. Okay, cool. But he's not doing it. I don't know. He doesn't do it efficiently, especially in the last few games. I feel like this wasn't his game. And then, when he would, in my opinion, when he would, when he is supposed to pass it, he bumps into 2 Crystal Palace players instead of passing. And I'm like, his decision making is kind of, I think he's great technically. I think that, he obviously, his stature is a bit off. I think that he needs to bump up, his muscles and all that. But it's just, and to me, he's better than Anthony. But it's just, sometimes
I don't know about that. I don't know. The thing, because all right, we'll just have a look at some of the comments before.
Okay, yeah.
And Anthony's saying Diallo's on the pitch to score, create chances. We didn't really see any crosses. We didn't really see him create anything, and he didn't really get any chances.
Agreed.
So I think that's decent, Chris. Hello, Jay Bay from Grizzly Media. If you see a black bear, do you lie on the ground, or do you like do a Mexican wave to fight them off? I never remember. Well, you've got to get big. Right. Joe is saying that his subs and player rotation is terrible. We've kind of spoken about that, Joe, but we're not in too much disagreement with you.
Yeah.
Andrew again laughed at when I said I cannot see Ahmad getting either 10 goals or 10 assists. Did you? I didn't know if you. I'm not. I don't recall you saying that, Andrew, but I do remember that when I talked about my issues with Ahmad, everyone getting very cross with me. Xerxes' progressive passes received must be one of the best around. We can really play the ball forward with him and the team. Yeah, I agree, Agile. He's become, in my opinion, too important to the team because we need a replacement for what he can do, or we need to go and buy one, and we don't have any money all the time. And Andrew is saying, I question how creative Ahmad is. So these are my issues with Ahmad, is apparently he's the most progressive winger in the league in terms of dribbling. So when he gets the ball, he gets up the pitch. There's normally very, very little end product. Like whatever you say about Anthony will hit some kind of attempt at a shot or a cross, but he's a poor ball striker, so it doesn't really happen. But Ahmad, he holds on to the ball a little bit too much for my liking. He doesn't see the gaps and the spaces, and he allows teams to position a block in front of him. I can understand why Ten Hag doesn't fancy him, because I know that this bandied about football IQ and stuff like that. I'm not a huge believer in those kind of statements, but what I know from Ahmad is that he's not using the space he creates properly, because when you dribble a football, the point of dribbling a football in these systems that we have now is to create space for other people, and he's not moving the ball fast enough or at the right times, and that's why we're seeing a lack of goals or assists coming from his side. And Rajak is saying Ahmad is only playing his breakthrough year. He didn't create very much chances. Dang. The thing is, right, Rajak, is that we say that anyone under 24 is a young player and learning the game, and that's fair enough. But in your squad, anyone who's not homegrown over the age of 21 is taking up a spot and has to be treated as a like a player. Ahmad has had a lot of football at a lot of different clubs over the years, and he's got to start showing to me signs that he can improve on what he's doing, or we replace him, because we're not getting enough from him. And I know everyone likes him because he's a pretty player, and we like pretty players, but he needs to start producing end results. Because you look at Mo Salah, he's the most ordinary world-class player I've ever seen.
Agreed.
But he scores goals and he's got quality. Ahmad doesn't have it. Tyrone, happy to see Xerxes one bath time over. He hasn't quite yet, Tyrone. I'm getting there with him, but goals. He's had too many easy chances and not scored them. Delo is 22. Exactly my point. He's taken up a squad place now. You've got to look at players over the age of 21 as being like players that can come into your team, certainly when they're starting every week. We have to remember being decent enough isn't good enough to win the league. I agree. Those are my thoughts on Diallo there. I think now we just have to really deal with the subs. So Ugarte, Rashford and Rasmus, and then we'll lack a notch it. Take it away, Dora.
Ugarte, when he came in, he was okay, I guess. I don't have that big of opinion on him. He did stop one or two, he intercepted 2 or 3 times, Crystal Palace's passes, which was good. That's his job. I'm sounding like Roy Keane, but that's his job. That's why we signed him. We can't expect progressive passes from him, because if he has Kobe next to him, Kobe is supposed to get that, responsibility, obviously, and I think everyone expects that from him. And finally, Rashford, I don't know what he did, honestly. I cannot even remember if he got a ball today when he came in.
Yeah, he didn't.
I don't know what happened. And Højlund looked awful. And
Shout out to Kate Cadet, by the way. I'm not putting that comment up. But
yeah.
I hope you're doing well. Doesn't sound like it.
Højlund looked like he did at Euros.
Do you think that maybe we could be a bit nicer to Højlund and say, like, when you come back, your touch isn't there and those sort of things? Or have you seen enough for Højlund to think that this is Rasmus Højlund?
No, like hopefully he improves it. I mean, he's still fairly young. People improve as they are alive. They are progressing as they are alive. Hopefully he does as well. Yeah, I still believe that he can improve, honestly, but he cannot play the way we are going to play. With false nine and dropping back as the fourth player in the diamond. Rasmus Højlund is not that kind of player.
No, and the thing is I don't know what kind of player he is. I don't know if he's a 6-yard poacher because he misses so many in the 6-yard box. So I don't know if he can score headers because he rarely scores headers. But what frustrated me when we brought him on is that, as you were correct about how the subs was slightly staggered over a couple of minutes. I saw Rashford go into the false nine when Rasmus was on, and I thought, this is all right from Ten Hag, because I think that Rashford is probably the player that's remaining on the pitch that is best in that position. It's not great, but the best. Then we saw Rashford go out to the left wing. We saw Rasmus go central, but I felt that in our build-up we didn't get wide enough in order to, and we didn't try to isolate Rashford one-on-one against whoever their fullback was. And it felt like these are the moments where Heath would just put McTominay on and hope something happens. But we didn't have anyone who sort of really made it happen. And I'm still intrigued to know if those subs were because Eriksen was given 75 minutes or if it was because Højlund could only play 15 minutes. But we'll do some comments and then we'll lack a notch it because everyone will shout at me if we go over an hour and a half. All right. We've got Kate Cadet in. I see. Has Rich finished? Has he? Shout out to Rich or RD United. He's rebranded, Dora. Settle for a draw at Palace. Absolute joke. The only player, Cake, I thought settled for the draw against Palace was Martinez, because he was just like doing a jigsaw or something when he had the ball. He was thinking about Sudoku. His touch was always shy. I completely agree, George. I hope you're doing well. Let me know if you're making any more fragrance videos. Are Bruno's legs starting to go? We've discussed this earlier, Bar. I assume you were doing some ineffective trolling somewhere else. Although I did like it when you tried to tell everyone it was my birthday. That was a good troll. This is a good one. Let's see Rasmus under Ruud. I agree, but I think, do you know what? I think the issue is, DK, is that we kind of know that Rasmus isn't good enough to play centrally with his touch. So we got to find a new position for him or a new club, in my opinion. What we do, we've got to churn through these players. Managed to get his old flame McTominay into the conversation. Oh, yeah, but it wasn't like, I didn't kind of like insert it for no reason. Do you disagree that this is, these sort of last 15 minutes is where we used to have McTominay off the bench and we used to like bomb it in and, you know, like against Villa and things like that, he'd get the goal. And I thought with Rashford on the bench, we might have bullets coming off it, but we don't. You shouldn't have never subbed Jay-Z, very simply. I completely agree, Joe, but what you also have to remember is that Jay-Z didn't really have a pre-season, and I get the impression that Ten Hag's under very strict instructions how many minutes players can play. But I agree. Bath time, where's the urgency? Where's the minute winning the time? We discussed all of this, Kate, but I echo your sentiments. Rashford as 9 never works. Does Rasmus's 9 ever work? Agree with Darius on Højlund, another good player who's very hard to squeeze in your team. I agree, Andrew. I feel that no one's really been maximised in this team, but today maybe Xerxes and Garnacho were. I'm not normally this harsh, says Tyrone, but I don't think Højlund will make it at United. Not good enough, only fast off the ball.
I mean, when Tyrone says it...
I mean, the thing is he kind of feels a little bit like our Darwin Núñez. He's got pretty much everything physically you would want. He's got the frame, he's got the height, he's got the pace. He has shown he's got good strength, but he's not really getting it all together. And you know, I think Núñez will get more goals than him this season. But I've also never really been convinced by Højlund, because strikers need to be effective in 3 areas, which is the box, in transitions, and in build-up.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's effective at any, to be honest, like at Premier League standard. I don't.
Yeah.
Darwin Núñez is a better player. All right, I know we've got quite a lot of people watching, and we've got some good chat interaction, but I'm very hungry, and Dora keeps like spamming me stuff in Croatian that I don't understand. But the one thing I understand is laka noć. So we might do an eye test tomorrow. I haven't on Sunday. I haven't decided. There's a lot going on this week. We've got Spurs at the weekend. We've got 20 during the week. Hopefully we'll have Dora and Stefan and the rest of the gang on this week. But I hope that everyone enjoys the boxing who celebrates it. And thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Blah, blah, blah.